Hello, everyone. My interview tonight is with the super talented Yvonne Orji. We're going to be talking about her new special, Momma, I Made It, and lots of other bits in between. I'll be right back. Hey, Yvonne.
Hello. It is a pleasure to be speaking with you, one of the greats.
Oh, you don't even want to know how I feel about you. I just feel, you know, that when you get those goosebumps, you're like, wow. Because I think the challenge that we faced for the longest time is when you see your own out there, you're sort of like, wow, she's really doing this. And, I meet so many young people that are inspired by your journey.
Oh, man, thank you.
They're always asking me about, God, what does she do? How does she do it? Do you think I'll be able to do it? And, and I'm like, of course you can. It's just a matter of figuring out how. So
yeah,
thank you so much for taking the time to chat today.
Thank you.
We're going to drill you on the how.
I don't know that I have a master blueprint, but I will do my best to answer this question.
It's one of those things. I mean, I often also get asked that, sort of, how did you do it? I want to start a chat TV channel. And I'm thinking, do you want to, okay, if you want me to take you through that entire process, we could be here till the year kingdom come. But I guess there are tips and bits and things that, I always share. So I'm sure you're going to share some of those with us today. But Yvonne, thank you so much. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
It is my pleasure. Yeah. We've been trying to make this thing happen for so long, and now we get to do it.
Now we get to do it, absolutely. And I saw your interview with Chigo the other day. God, I was just cracking up every other minute. So I'm not a comedian by any stretch of the imagination. So I know you're probably feeding off each other and thinking, yes, but
everybody has their different gifts and talents that God has given, and She-Girl and I together, we're just
you guys need to just have the show, the Yvonne and She-Girl, whatever it is. You guys need to make it happen. Cracking up from beginning.
I knew that we would probably get more information out with this call and with this talk than anything She-Girl and I did together. Necessary, because laughter in the middle of everything that's happening, from a global pandemic to a national upheaval here in America, necessary to laugh. Mm-hmm. However, I was certain that you and I would have different things to talk about.
Definitely, and I'm looking forward to that, So Nigeria, how often do you actually get to Nigeria? Because I hear you here. So I sort of hear on social media, Yvonne was here. So how often do you get in?
I get in usually about every year. My dad makes it a point, and it's, when we're not filming, because this last time we actually filmed right up until Christmas, and then I was able to come I think January 2nd or 4th or something like that. So right after the New Year. But more often than not, I try to come every year or every other year if I skip a year, just depending on what my schedule is like here.
Mm-hmm. So what keeps you busy? And obviously you love going to the village as well. So what keeps you busy when you come to Lagos? What are those highlights?
I can't say that I love going to the village. Mm-hmm. I go to the village because I respect my father. You know what I'm saying? The village has its own stress. Village it's not even like you're going and you're just going to chill and you're going to sit and you're going to eat mommy's food and just, talk with mommy and that. No. You're going there and the villagers come, you back? I'm like,
yes, so are you there? What did you bring for us?
I'm like, what did y'all bring for me? What did y'all bring? Can I even just get bole? Can I just get simple plantain chip? Please, just plantain chip. I don't want much. Yeah. And it's just always this is work.
Yeah. And then obviously, is there suya in the village? I know you love suya. Is suya lover?
I love suya. There is no suya in the village. There's ram. My dad will have a ram barbecue, and so he will kill a ram. But, village life is also very, I can do the village for 1 or 2 days. Because I'm also kind of I'm overly stimulated by so much. I very rarely get time to just chill and stop moving or go at my own pace. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not like I have that luxury when I'm home. Sometimes, the first day or so, my mom, just let her sleep. Mm-hmm. But then you hear some, pastor, on the loudspeaker. Yes. You hear the rooster crow and you're like, So let me see where am I?
You're really in Nigeria. You're really in the village.
I really am. But I love that it makes my dad happy, you know, and my mom happy to be on their terms, on their turf.
Mm-hmm.
But then quickly I'm like, okay, who is going to Lagos? What is the first flights back to Lagos?
Mm-hmm.
Or Port Harcourt? Which one?
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, I'm a Port Harcourt girl.
Yeah, so I hear. But Lagos, what do you get up to in Lagos? I mean, do you have any sort of favorite joints where you hang out, things you like to do?
You know, it differs, right? I have my go-to people that I call, and you know, I think every time I come back, there's a new thing to explore. This is like Lagos is constantly changing. Like the last time I was home, they had the this lovely place. It was actually where I went after the show in Nigeria, and it's like outside by the beach, and it's like they have a mural.
Okay.
And it's like a bar, and I was like, "What is it?" And it's just like an outside like hangout.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another place that was on another beach that was like a inside outside club, and like it's on the boardwalk. And I was like, "Where am I?" You know.
Anyway, the next time you come, we got to get you to EbonyLife Place. You know, we're right there in VI. Very cool. You love it. You love it.
I was staying in Eco Signature, which is a process for you guys.
Yes. So don't worry. The next time we will invite you specially, VIP guests.
One the VVIP, in fact.
Yes, so VVIP. So talking about Port Harcourt, you were born in Port Harcourt.
Yes.
And then from there, you sort of like, you were 6 when you went to America, right?
I was, yeah.
Any culture shock in terms of settling into America, or did you just kind of like, did you just come with the terrain that, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm dealing with this?
Well, you know, my mom had gone before us because my mom was a nurse. And so part of her getting the job at Howard University was that she was like, I have a family. And, you know, at that point, immigration was very different. They were like, everybody gets a green card. So we were like, okay.
Okay.
And so she had gone to kind of set up shop. And so when she would come back, we would hear stories of America and what it was like. So we were getting prepped to be like, we can't wait to go. Let's go. And so my dad brought us, but we made the mistake of coming in the dead of winter. And I was like, what is this? You know, what is not just cold, but snow. And I think when you're a kid, you're like, this is fun and interesting, but then you get hit with that one good snowstorm or that one good snowball, and you're like, in shorts, it's not by force. You don't have to do this.
But you did it.
but we did it. And then it wasn't until I moved to LA, like in 2012, that I was like, who was keeping this sun and goodness away from me? Like, I am a child from the earth, from Nigeria. I need constant sunlight. Why did they not tell me California was an option? And I was very upset.
So wonderful. We're talking about your mom getting there before you, and then the show, which is really what I really wanted to talk about today. Momma, I Made It. You know, when I first heard that title, I said to myself, I wonder why that's the title of this show. Why is she calling it, you know, Momma, I Made It? So tell us again, please. Why this title?
Why did you think I called it Momma, I Made It?
I thought maybe before I saw the obviously Chi Girl's interview, I thought maybe it was because, you know, how as an African parent, you know, I know how my kids, I mean, I have a 30-year-old daughter and I have a 23-year-old son, and I have a mom who's nearly 80. And I know how I feel towards wanting to share my successes with her. And I know how my kids want to share their successes with me.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that, you know, obviously, you know, our parents want us to become, I mean, I went the route of being in human resources before I got into showbiz. I only got into show business at age 40. So it was new to me at age 40. But, you know, so we start out in life with our parents telling us these are the things we must do. You must become a doctor. You must become a lawyer. But then we've now made it. So in my mind, I said, I'm sure she's named it this because she wants her mom, who she loves dearly, to know that, Mom, I've made it. I know you thought maybe you were scared, you were afraid that maybe going into this line of work, you know, maybe I may not make it, but Mom, I've made it. And I think our moms, we're so close to our moms, you know, that, you know, even though you may fight with your mom, because my mom and I, today we're friends, tomorrow we're not talking for a day or two, and then we make up again, and then my daughter and I, we have our, you know, so I understand that dynamic, but it doesn't take away from the love and the bonding. So I thought for me, you wanted to say, Mom, I've done it.
You know, all of those things. And I know specifically for my mom, it was especially hard for her when I decided not to go the normal route, right? Because she had to do her own level of sacrificing in her life in terms of, I know for a fact, my mom wanted to be a French teacher. And as she was en route to France, her dad was like, and no, please bypass France, go to London, become a nurse. That way you can get a good job, you marry a good husband, and the opportunities will be open to you. And for her, she was like, my dad knows more than me. Great, I will listen. And now, you know, and I remember her telling me that story. I was like, but you could have been a French teacher. I could have been half Nigerian, half French. And she was like, I used to be. Are you not hearing anything I'm saying? Like, you know, when she used that as an example for me to like kind of fall in line. And so I know that she had to discount her dreams for what was necessary. And then she also had to convince my father, a chief in Nigeria, that like, hey, I know you and your family lineage has worked very hard to make the Orji name great. I'm not going to pluck your seed from your country, and I'm going to bring them to America for a good education and letting you know that this is the way that they will in turn be our Social Security when we get older. And then it's just like, okay, if you say so. And then, you know, her like being here working, because my dad kind of lived between Nigeria and America because he had his own business. So he didn't fully come with us. And so for her to kind of be like, I promise this plan I had is going to work. And for me to be the youngest of 4 kids and with every child like bypassing whatever she dreamt, and then me being like the last Black hope, being like, okay, but this thing that he really wanted, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like the way you envision. And so, you know, it's kind of like, what did I do this for? Like my mom literally was like, you people will not kill me. I will not come and die for you. You know, it was just, it's just that like pain of how could I have gotten it so wrong, right? And so this is my way of being like, you didn't get it wrong.
Yes.
You just applied the lessons that you taught us to very limited possibilities.
Yes.
We took those lessons and we enlarged them by dreaming bigger than we could have ever imagined. Yes. And that's a thing that our parents' generation can't fathom, because either be it from the Civil War that they experienced, either be it from, you know, cultural norms that were placed on them. This is what's expected. And what's crazy is every Nigerian you meet is an entrepreneur. So they are literally, you know, breaking barriers in their own right. But it's like the ability to grow is very limited. Even though you have the capacity to grow, the container is small.
It's limited, yes.
And so for me to name it Mama, I made it. It was kind of like a letting her know, like, no, your efforts are not in vain. We made it. Yes. You know, I had a theme song created for the special.
I saw the video. I was like, wow, this is very cool. Very sort of like, you know, dancey and all that. It's lovely. Yes.
Yeah. And that was important because, you know, at the end, it goes, I made it, Mama, we made it. And it's just like, no, I made it, but we made it. Yes. And we're still making it because this is not the end. This is just the beginning.
Yes. So based on that, tell us about the show. I mean, everybody in Lagos, Nigeria, you're going to get to watch this show, but I have had the privilege of watching it. And the thing that struck me was that I love the way you got on stage, but then you just kept it going. I was like, it must take special skill. I mean, did you have to do like loads of rehearsals? I mean, the research, you know, the jokes, the punchlines. I mean, how does all that work? I mean, I just find that comedy it's easier to be like, do sort of like things like tragedy, because to make people laugh, it's so you really just have to just like hit the nail on the head. And I watched, and my daughter was here, and we're like, wow, this is so good. I mean, how do you get all of that? How do you keep it all going?
You know, I know that I'm called. I know that I'm anointed to do what I do. I know that I'm gifted to do what I do. But it takes hard work. You know, I've been a comedian for 14 years 2006 is when I first started. I'm just now getting my first special, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a, you know, for anyone who's like, oh, HBO was just giving comedy special. I'm like, to where? To who? Who are they just giving? Just giving what?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it took a while for this particular dream to manifest. And I have been brewing and reconstructing and refining my humor since I started. And this is now just an opportunity for me to show the world like who I was before you discovered me as Molly. So it's almost like a rediscovering.
Yeah.
And you know, before we filmed, I got a chance to do the Lagos to Laurel tour.
Yes.
And I kicked it off. We started it when I was back home, but through 13 cities, I believe we went through, just honing it and getting it tight and making sure that by the time we got to DC, like in those 2 shows that we take, we're gonna get the special.
Absolutely. But in terms of like all the different experiences that you went through, I mean, sort of putting the jokes together, deciding on, you know, what you were going to say 1 minute after the next. I mean, is it just, are there loads of rehearsals involved, or does it just come naturally? I mean,
well, no, yeah. I mean, the tour, you put together a set. So every comedian, they put together like their 1 hour, and you shop it. You know, you go through it. You talk to other comedians. They give you notes on like, you know, how to punch it up, if one joke can be made funnier, etc. It's collaborative in that way. But like, yeah, you're the only one on stage delivering these jokes. But you know, for me, it's a joke comes in form of the seed. You know, I'll think of something, or someone will say something, or I'll experience a thing, and then I'm just like, okay, well, this is funny to me. How do I make this funny to everybody? And it's like, what is that thing? What is that thing that maybe everyone can relate to about this moment? But then because I know I have a very specific lens in which I display my comedy, how do I hit my target audience? And so it's always kind of just like, okay, well, all right, I don't curse in my set. And so it's just like, okay, well, how can I make this funny without cursing? And it's not even that like I need cursing to make it funny, but it's just like, how do I make this punched? How do I make this the sharpest version of itself, whereby everyone who hears it will get it, and they will laugh.
And a lot of it is about family. A lot of it is about your mom. It's about family. It's about Nigeria. I mean, would you say that predominantly your audience is very Nigerian, or is it mixed? Do they really?
No, yeah, my audience is very mixed. When I go to especially when I perform in New York, I mean, I have everything from old Black women who just came from church to, you know, white tourists, to Nigerians, to African Americans, to Latinos. Like, I feel like it's anybody, anywhere who has a family, or has had a family, you know, knows a Nigerian, is Nigerian, because at this point I'm like, Nigerians are everywhere.
Everybody knows a Nigerian of some sort, so they'll, you know, it's probably going to be fairly easy to connect with that. But in terms of, you know, being funny, have you always been funny, Yvonne? I mean, when's your earliest memory in life of being funny?
You know, this is not a thing that I could have seen for myself. My earliest memory of wanting to be funny is when I was in Port Harcourt, and my dad would have his friends, and they would sit outside on the veranda, and they would be drinking style gulda, and they would just be like belly laugh. When my dad laughs, like the entire neighborhood hears it. It's just, it comes from the esophagus. It's just, and it's like a groan. It's a moan. And I remember I'd want, because, you know, I was a big daddy's girl, and I would want to be sitting with them. I wouldn't know what the heck was going on, but it was just whatever somebody was saying was making the other person laugh. And my dad would look at me. He's like, "So you're just here enjoying Senor Boy's jokes?" Oh yeah, you know, and would like shoo me away. Yeah. But it was just like, that's so powerful. Like, I don't think I knew like, oh, I want to do that. But I think for me, I was just like, that's so cool. Like, all of them are just sitting down, being natural storytellers and laughing. Like, I wanted to be in on it. Yeah. So, you know, it's interesting that my full name would be Yvonne Orji, which means Archer of Happiness, the first part. And that's literally my destiny and my calling, is to be an Archer of Happiness. Yes. Again, if not for God, I never would have known.
So basically, that was before you left Nigeria when you were 6. So basically,
that was early. And then, even when we would come back, because we first started coming back when I was 12, and it was just like, I want to be part of the cool kids. Like, Nigerians have so much fun. Like, we literally have in the middle of despair, in the middle of, NEPA taking lights or whatever you don't have. It's just like, but oh boy, all right, let's just tell funny stories in the dock. You're like, what? And it's just this thing that we need to have and hold on to. Like, Black joy is something that is almost is undeniable and unexplainable. And you can't tap it. You can try and infiltrate it, but you can't tap it because it's a cultural phenomenon.
And HBO, you're part of the HBO family. I mean, it started with Secure. Now you have your own stand-up show. So what's the journey been like with them in terms of how did you meet these guys?
Well, Issa, I knew very well. Issa was familiar with me before I was familiar with her. After I got my master's, I worked in Liberia, and it was right before.
Wow.
I did. Yeah, I worked for 6 months, like post-conflict. So right after the war, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was the president, and I posted a video. Obama was maybe like weeks before clinching the presidency. And I posted a video like, if Obama wins, Africans from everywhere are going to like come out the woodworks to try and claim him. And I pretended to be one of these such family members. And unbeknownst to me, Issa is half Senegalese, and she watched it, and for her, it reminded her of like her aunts and uncles. And so then later on, I'm going about my business. I don't know that Issa actually exists. She produces Awkward Black Girl. It becomes a phenomenon. I moved to LA, and everyone's like, "You need to meet this chick." And then we link up, and she's like, "I thought you were funny way back when." I'm like, "Way back when? When was I funny? When do you know that?" And then she told me that she watched this video, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Because at that time in 2012, I was hosting African fashion shows, African weddings. Like I was just literally trying to get my hand on any kind of experience. And so then when she did the show, when she Insecure got greenlit, I auditioned for it. At the time I was like trying to create my own show called First Gen. And so
First Gen, yes.
And so that's how like I kind of got into the HBO family. And so for the last 4 years, they've been my, TV home. And then, they come to see me perform. And when we were looking for a place to house my special, it just seemed like the most natural and best fit. And they have been so supportive. I mean, there was no fight in having them bring cameras to Nigeria.
Wow.
It was just like,
brought the entire crew.
They supported it, and it was such a blessing because they are like one of the innovative. Like they pride themselves on being innovative, and so it's just like, have we ever gone to Nigeria to do a comedy special? No, we haven't. Okay, great. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So I hope they had a good time in Lagos and in the village, and did they eat our food?
The camera crew was drinking tombo. They were drinking palm wine in the villa.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, they were getting down. They're like, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, y'all not gonna make it. Y'all gonna be real. Y'all gonna be real turned in the morning." Yeah. So they were eating the food. My mom was so funny because my mom made like jollof rice. She made plantain with moi moi and all the things, and then she made like a separate breakfast of like eggs and like oatmeal. The eggs and oatmeal stayed. Everyone was going for the big. Yeah, they were like, "Which one? Eggs and oatmeal, the thing that we can have anytime." No, please. What kind of beans are these?
Wonderful, wonderful. But talking about HBO, I read somewhere, correct me if I'm wrong, that you did 5 auditions.
I did 5 auditions before I booked the role of Molly.
Wow. Over what sort of period of time did you do those 5?
Oh man, the first one, I remember the dates. It was like July 2nd, and I didn't find out until mid-August.
Okay,
So
so
it was like almost 2 months.
months. Well, that's not because sometimes you can really wait. You can really wait for these things. We'll get, that sort of, we'll be in touch. So that was good.
Maybe for you as the executive, it was good, but for the artist who is hungry and starving, those 2 months were like,
they were like 2 years.
20. Yeah, because it's not like it was like back to back. It was like, okay, you audition, and then they're still auditioning other people, so that's what's taking so long. And then they're trying to make a decision on like what the breakdown will be, and then it's just like you're waiting. That's like in between the 5 auditions. It's waiting.
Yes.
Like, am I gonna get another call? Is the 4th one where they leave me? It's just like you're never. Nothing's certain. So with everyone, you're just I remember, hitting up Issa like, hey girl, listen, I just want to hear from you. If I'm not the one, like, don't make me wait and hear it from some random person. Just like, I want to get the bad news from you.
And what did she say? She was like, don't worry, it's under control.
But Issa is so like risk adverse. Like she's not risk adverse, but she's so like drama adverse. Like she doesn't like confrontation. So, when she says like, no, girl, you good. I'm like, Issa, don't do this to me. Like, I need to know if it's not me.
And then the day that you got the news, that must have been some day.
Yeah, it was a Friday. And I couldn't say anything until they delivered the news on deadline. So for a whole weekend, I didn't know when they would deliver the news to deadline. So for the whole weekend, I had this joy in my soul that I had to just like,
you're gonna share it, right?
I had to just like keep everything.
I know that feeling, Yvonne. It's like you've got an NDA that you've signed, so therefore, please don't say anything until we're ready to make this announcement. And you're thinking, oh my God, I want to just tell everybody,
Yeah.
Wonderful. And 4 years later, Insecure is still going, and you're enjoying it, obviously, from what we see. Yay.
It has been a blessing. As an actress, you hope for that like pivotal role that, kind of cements or at least starts your career in a way that like will be memorable.
So you started big. You started big, Yvonne. That was sorry to interrupt you. That was, how some people start off in bitty roles. Although I know you obviously had the struggles and all of that, but this was major. Sorry.
Yeah. Like, again, I say, I think God could trust me with this one because before I started big, I was starting very small. Like this wasn't my start. My start was, hosting people's weddings. My start was being a PA and, basically being an assistant that was unpaid. My start was volunteering just so that I can be in the room and get knowledge. So it was all the things that I was doing without knowing that I was preparing myself for my big break.
Absolutely.
And so if you're only ever looking for your big break, good luck. Because you can get it, but then you won't be ready when you do get it.
About being
for me,
ready.
Yeah. I think God was readying me and seeing if he could trust me through every stage of the journey, because it's not just, I booked a show. It's like, do you know how to work well with other people? Do you know how to manage an influx of wealth that'll come at you? Do you know what your true purpose is? Like, because you're on assignment, not just like, I booked a job. Like, you are on assignment within every set. Can you handle that responsibility? And I think that was more what God was interested in doing with me before he kind of released me and exposed me in this way. Absolutely. So, I tell everyone who's like, what advice do you have, for new actors? I'm just like, be willing to do the grunt work. Yeah. Be willing to make sure your character matches your actions and your words.
And talking about roles in acting, you don't have any formal training as an actress, do you?
No, Insecure was my big acting kind of training, but as a comedian, you're acting every time you step on stage, in terms of like you're engaging with an audience. Acting is high key easier than comedy. Like you have cameras and different angles and different takes to get it right. And then you have like other people you're playing off of. Mm-hmm. When you're on stage, it's just like me, you, and this mic. And I have to hold your attention. I have to.
An audience that you have to feed. I mean, audiences are so like, yeah, I want to laugh, so make me laugh, right? Very demanding.
And you never know what kind of audience you're going to get. Like, you can have the audience that's super energized and ready to, you know, be entertained by your art. And then you have the people who are like, I've had a bad day. It's your job.
Make me laugh now.
And you're like, okay. You know, so it's like, you have to set the atmosphere. And so I think, and then also even comedy clubs is different than hosting Nigerian weddings, because then, you know, they're spectacles. Yeah. And it's just like, I gotta please the bride and groom. I also have to please the guests. I also have to please the mom and dad who's paying for this, and their visions don't match. And then I have to get everyone's attention. And you're basically an executive producer of a wedding, and as well as a comedian. Yeah. And so all of that was my training. You know, God says He takes the foolish things of the wise to, you know, foolish things to confound the wise. And I feel like the thing that, you know, most mainstream comics would be like, you hosted weddings, what the heck is that? It's like, no, that was my training. When I didn't have money for a class, like, that was my training. That was it. And I watched enough TV to know what I felt was a great performance, and then also to know what I felt was like, that's trash. And go ahead.
And now that you've been exposed and to Insecure, and you've got this show coming, you know, when you dream about the roles that you want to, you know, to be in as an actress, what comes to you in terms of that sort of like, yes, this is what I desire most next? What would it be?
I want to be a superhero.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I definitely want to be a superhero. I also want to do like rom-coms. I'm a hopeful romantic.
Yeah.
And so I also want to, you know, I love loving basketball. It would be a dream to be part of a work, a project, a movie that has so much staying power like that really invokes hope and inspires people to love, like that movie did for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about, you know, rom-coms and that kind of work and things, I mean, do you have any plans to maybe work in Nollywood?
You know, I have been during this quarantine, happy to see the catalog of Nollywood movies that are coming out, especially like on Netflix. You know, I'm able to like watch and laugh. I had to DM the director. It's so cool. The movie, It's so, yes. I watched that and I was like, oh, this is lovely. And it was just very light and feel good. My roommate, who is Caribbean American, we watched it together. And, you know, for me, it makes me happy to see the wealth of stories that are being told in Nollywood. I mean, if the right opportunity and the timing and all of that, it's definitely something I would explore.
It's good to know, because I think some of our actresses that have obviously made it in Hollywood will feel a certain amount of, I don't really want to do Nollywood, I just want to do Hollywood, that kind of thing. So it's nice to know that you would consider the right Nollywood story to do.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's so many factors at play. Like, one is the desire, and then it's the like, okay, because, you know, you got agents and lawyers and managers here who are like, what is this deal?
Yeah, I want to know what the deal.
What does this deal look like? And it's just like, you know, having to navigate kind of those waters. Those are above the pay grade of just like, I wouldn't mind doing a Nollywood movie. It's like, oh, but okay, here's some other things that
of what you have to do, blah blah blah. I hear you. But post-COVID, I mean, obviously COVID has been it's taken the entire world by surprise. I mean, it was predicted by some world leaders a few years ago that a pandemic would arise. It has arisen. So what have you spent your time doing the last couple of months? Just pretty much.
Man, I have been putting finishing touches on my my manuscript. My first book is going to come out 2021. It's called Bamboozled by Jesus: How God Tricked Me into the Life of My Dreams.
Wow, fantastic. Sounds
good. And so it's basically me telling my journey, but paralleling different moments in my life with different biblical characters that we're familiar with, but perhaps you haven't looked at their stories as pertinent to your story. You know, a lot of times we talk about how like the Bible's outdated, like nobody's really looking to, you know, to faith until like something bad happens or until like they're like 89 years old. But for me, I'm like, you know, my faith has been a mainstay in not only my life, but in my career. And showing that like in your 30s, you can really have a great relationship with God and it can actually be, you know, the secret sauce to your happiness, to your success, to your peace, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, so that's what I hope to do through the book, showing like, hey, from the time I was 17 years old, I have known this relationship that has been instrumental in every aspect of my life. And let me open that door and show
share that with everybody. Yeah, absolutely. So any other jobs lined up, any sort of films or other shows, anything you could share with us?
Yeah, you know, I was shooting a movie with Little
NDA agreements.
Right. I was shooting a movie with Little Rel and John Cena before, you know, Corona shut things down. So definitely going to go back to that. You know, I'm doing some writing. I'm still holding on to hope for First Gen, seeing what can be done with that. And, you know, hopefully when the special comes out, we'll be able to see me differently, but also see the family story that I've been trying to tell differently. So
absolutely. I mean, I loved the stand-up, and I think everybody's going to love it as well. So Nigeria is going to, you know, we wait till July 13th, I believe, for it to hit our screens. Yes.
It'll be worth the wait.
Yes, I know it will. You guys, don't worry, you are in for a treat, believe me. But before I let you go, you started off by talking about words of advice in terms of, you know, everybody needs to, you know, we all know we need to work hard to get things done. But if there are any young girls out there today, young Nigerian girls that are hopeful about, I want to make the trip, I want to go to Hollywood, what would you say?
You know, I think the thing that makes us successful as a people, which is our hustle, which is our drive, which is our ability to see beyond what's presented to us. Those are all the skills you need. I mean, those are the things my parents instilled in me that set me apart. You know, it wasn't like, oh, great, I just got on Insecure, like I can just coast for the next 4 years. It's like, I just got on Insecure. Let me make sure I do a phenomenal job. And from this, I will get a comedy special. I'll get a book. I'll get, you know, TV deals. I'll get a movie. Like, it's always like, how do I springboard this door that was held ajar and like multiply the moment?
It's about taking those opportunities, doing the best you can with them when they come, fight to get them, do the best you can, and then just keep looking for the next big break, I guess, the next big thing after.
And then just be a good human. You know, people don't underestimate the fact that people want to work with good people. You know, people want to work with people that they can trust, people that they not only can trust to exemplify their skill and their talent, but like, just trust to have around. You know, you're on sets for 12 to 14 days. Like, don't be cantankerous. You know, it's just like, we're all grateful to have the opportunities we have. And it's so good it's good to want to help good people. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everyone wants to help other people who are just like, oh man, I see you shining. You know, I told Issa, I said, your vision birthed so many dreams. And, you know, she's one of the most selfless individuals because she is just like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I mean, she's building an empire from music to films to TV to like now an agency. And so she's like, I'm going to do me. Like, there's not going to be any shortage of things that I can do. And hopefully you're smart enough to know that there's no shortage of things you can do as somebody that's affiliated with me. So you don't need my permission to maximize this moment. And so that's something that to anybody who's looking to get in, it's do your homework, know what you need to know. I mean, the internet is a great equalizer.
Absolutely.
And then when you show up correct. You know, show up ready.
And keep knocking, because, you know, I mean, it's not as if it's going to all be opened up onto you the minute you start knocking on that door, right? I mean, it's really about never
again.
Yeah.
14 years after I picked up a microphone, I'm getting my first special. So it's not because I put down the microphone down. No, it's because it's
taken a minute.
It's taken too long.
Yeah.
And even before then, I had told my parents, give me 8 years to make it in entertainment, because 8 years is what it would take to make it as a doctor. Mm-hmm. By the grace of God, we did it in 7. But that's 7 years is a long time to be hoping and wishing and waiting and praying and hoping and wishing and waiting and praying until something happened.
Well, Mama, I made it. You made it. You've made it. You're making it. You're making us proud. We love you. Thank you.
As are you. You, ma'am, are. I watched 50 when I was in Nigeria. And then the wedding planner, the wedding party. Yes, I was a wedding party. My parents came to LA. The wedding planner was Jennifer Lopez. The wedding party. My mom came to LA, and I put it on. And she doesn't watch a lot of TV. Period. Like, she doesn't even know how to find Channel 5. And you're like, Mom, it's literally Channel 5. But we put it on, and you could see. This is funny. Oh my goodness gracious. And it's just like, okay. And then we played part 2, and she was, she's like, can you please put on the second part? I had to fall asleep, but I want to finish watching it. And it's like, okay. So kudos to you for showing my mom, the different generations, what's possible through African entertainment and African art.
Yes, absolutely, Yvonne. And let's stay in touch, and look forward to working with you sometime, possibly. Let's, it'd be wonderful.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
Everything. And, we look forward to this special, this HBO special.
Thank you.
Thanks, darling. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best, and God bless and keep you always. Thank you.
Amen. I receive it.
Take care. Bye for now.